Let's hear what internationally renowned expert Douglas Reeves has to say about the power of looking at student work collaboratively.
Hello, I'd like to talk to you about teachers collaboratively scoring student work. Now, at first blush, collaboration sounds like a splendid thing to do. I mean, we all want to get along, don't we? But in fact, collaboration is really difficult work. And it can be profoundly challenging when colleagues that you admire and respect look at the same piece of student work that you're considering and come to a different conclusion about the merit of that piece of work. As a result, collaboration is an intellectually and emotionally demanding activity, but I still think it's worth doing. Here's why. Envision that you and I are sitting in a faculty meeting, and I hand out a piece of anonymous student work. And by the way, I know school principals who do this exercise every single month. So we hand out this anonymous piece of student work, no name of a teacher, no name of a student, and we just say, here's a 4th grade essay, or 7th grade, or 11th grade. And then I hand out a scoring rubric, and I ask all my colleagues in the room to take 5 minutes to evaluate it alone. Grading student work, we've done it 1,000 times, what could be easier? And then I ask, who thinks it's a 4? A few hands go up. Who thinks it's a 3? A few more. Who thinks it's a 2? Lots of hands. Who thinks it's a 1? A scattered few as well. And then I say, colleagues, we've got a problem, because we've got a bunch of college-educated people in this room who cannot agree what the word proficient means for some students at elementary, middle, or high school. And if we as college-educated adults can't figure that out, how in the world will our students do it? Now, we've got work to do. And then I set about asking people, now you thought it was a 3, please tell me why. You thought it was a 2, please explain why. And then I guide the conversation to achieve collaboration effectively, not as a contest of wills between two opposing parties. The enemy is never each other. The enemy is ambiguity. And so we return to the scoring rubric and we ask, now, if I changed the 3rd line of the scoring rubric from this to that, would that help us achieve better agreement? If I change the introduction from this to that, would that help us achieve better agreement? And I keep working on it until we get to at least 80% agreement. Now, I don't want to act for one moment that this is easy. I've done it myself with groups that after 6 hours of instruction from me, which I thought was just about as good as things were going to get, had a lousy level of agreement, fewer than 20% of teachers agreeing on this sample of student work and what it ought to be. But persisted. We hung in there, and after 4 meetings got to 90+% level of agreement. It was never perfect, but a whole lot better than 19% where we started. Now, why is collaboration so important? Imagine that if instead of having this conversation over the last few minutes about student work, we were talking about something really important, I don't know, like hockey, and we had radically different views about the shape of the rink, the dimensions of the net, the shape of the puck. The citizens of this province would rise as one and say, that's not fair, because in something really, really important like hockey, we've got to agree on the rules of the game. My friends, scoring rubrics are the rules of the game for students. And if you've ever pulled playground duty, as I have, you know that children have a visceral sense of what's fair and not fair. And when the adults disagree about what student acceptable work is, then it isn't fair, and the kids' plaintive cry is correct. Now, the problem is collaboration isn't easy. Roland Barthes, founder of the Harvard Principal Center, famously distinguished between collegiality and congeniality. This isn't about being congenial. It's not about getting along. It's about being willing to articulate your point of view and advocate for it, not against a colleague, but against the enemy of ambiguity. Because if the rules of academic success are ambiguous for a college-educated professional, they are surely ambiguous for one of the children that you and I serve in schools. To me, this really isn't even a pedagogical issue. It's an ethical issue. You and I have an ethical, a moral responsibility to be fair in the way that we treat children, just as hockey officials have an obligation morally, ethically, to be fair in the consistent way that they officiate at a game. Surely, if we can do this in sports, we can do it in the classroom.